All right. I think we're live. If not, that's okay. I'm hanging out. And someday I'll get this whole streaming thing figured out as well. I set this up thinking that I had a clear vision of what I wanted to do, and then I realized I'm not really doing a good job of keeping things up to date. So here's what I'm going to do. We're gonna do some upgrades, and there's definitely better ways of doing this. But I'm going to show you kind of my default settings. I got some of these projects here. Let's go into something that's running in production. Government service YouTube. And okay, hopefully there's no secrets that show up here. We're just setting up some credentials for my environment. So first of all, I don't like that I'm using this version. So we're just upgrading. Like, no big deal. I'll go ahead and do it inside of here. I think that'll work just fine. I do like to go to production with native images because I deploy stuff on Raspberry Pis. There's some changes here. Let's just stash all that, right? Stash. Cool. Let's make sure we're on the latest and greatest. That's probably good. Let's do SDK list. I know which version I want. I would like to run Liberica 21, the NIC. This is the latest version of the NIC. So here's what I'm going to do for today. I like to play with others. But for today, I'm going to say SDK use this version. Whoops, I got some extra stuff here. And I don't know why it does that sometimes. So here we go. I'm going to use that. I'm going to say, also, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it in here, as this is the version that I want to use going forward. Look at that. So there we are. Now, when I come into this directory, I will be automatically switched to the right version. This is not Fortnite. I better check my stats here. Thank you for that. How are you doing today? You and I you've been on my radar for quite a few things. Mr. Andy Talk, just give me one sec. Let's mute because I don't know what I'm doing. I have the right title, but I didn't have the right category over on Twitch. So let's fix that real quick. Maybe we'll try. I say things right as a developer normally does. Oh, that won't take any time at all. Let's go and see if we can switch my category, because I like to do things in software and game development. And yeah, we're doing stuff. All right, hopefully that fixes it. But thank you for letting me know. And this is what we're doing. We're upgrading. So I can do this. I can show that, hey, we haven't updated in a while. It's been a while since I've been doing my streaming, and I normally like to be out every day. But because you're taking code to production all the time, and nobody wants to be like left, right? This is Spring Boot 3.2.2, which is like ancient, right? 3.2.3 came out last week. I think I can do it in here. And I like to upgrade my software. So I have these aliases that I use. I call it Spring Cubed. That's my little cheat code that runs open rewrite recipes under the covers. But this is how I stay on the latest and greatest. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna say Spring Cubed. This alias exists in my profile, but it's just gonna go and run this recipe, one of many recipes that are available. And it's going and grabbing all the latest versions of those recipes, and it's going to make sure, oh, what happened? Am I on the right version of Java? So we ran into something. This is true. I am not going. Oh, what happened? Oh, I had some fluff in here. which is weird. Let's try this again. I'm going to make mistakes, and that's okay. I actually find I get more value of watching a presentation and seeing it go off the rails, seeing how people recover, right? Because rarely in software engineering and in life, rarely do things go as well as we planned. So seeing how we recover from things, seeing what happens, I often find there's more value in that. So this is gonna be a short stream. I'm not gonna be doing a whole lot here. I just wanted to go and upgrade some things, show you how easy it can be. So now I'm all upgraded. It shouldn't be a whole lot. We removed that. I updated some stuff, and let's just go, right? Git add. Right, let's just take it. Why not? Hello. And let's just get it out of here. Now, one of the cool things here is, how do I have like the confidence? Here, I've got ASCII-Doc. That tells me I've got Spring REST docs. So I've got some things that are running, and the code that I push, the tests that I run, actually generates my documentation. I think that this is still running. I think I can show how this works in production, right? Which one are we working on? We're working on the YouTube service, and that's at javagrunt.com/YouTube-service. And I can go here and I can let actuator info. And that's scaled to 0. Why did that not come up? Oh, maybe I didn't expose it. Let's see. Are you healthy? Yeah, you're healthy. Why is the info not there? This is slightly concerning. Let's go take a look. But one of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure that the stuff I'm taking to production, this is build info. So I should be able to go into my properties. I got a bunch of properties here. Keys, data sources, good stuff. I'm not sure why the info's not showing. But you can see we're calling up to AI. And yeah, hey, interesting. I apologize for the spam. I will try to fix that here in just a sec. Here, I'm looking. I'm trying. I'm usually not popular enough to get spam. So in one sense, I'm like, yay, spam. But in the other sense, I'm like, oh, spam. Let me see if I can find that and remove. Wait, how do I do this? I don't know. Maybe I'm not good enough to do that. Oh, I have a moderator here. Look at this. Oh boy, what a blessing. That is amazing. So here we are. We've done some stuff, but I want to take it to production and I want to have some confidence. Thomas says, do you know if there is a repo with best practices to run Spring on Kubernetes? We need to run our app at work on a cluster and want to make it as easy as possible as we don't have a ops person. Well, Thomas, like we're connected because you're here, because you're in my stream, we're connected and you can ask. So Thomas, I actually have a session that I'm going to be delivering at KCDC in June, but it's a session that I've been delivering for a very long time and it's been upgraded. And let me see if I can point to it here, where it's like, what does it take to run Spring? This one, 15 factors on Kubernetes, this workshop. I am happy to come in and help you with the best practices and deliver. And it can be, we can schedule some one-on-one time, or we can just do it as a private Zoom or whatever. But I'm happy to help. That's what we do. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of your work, and I would love to be able to help you bring some of those best practices to you and your team and make it easy. Because that's what I do, right? We're here. You see me take this as I go to kubectx. Let's switch to our production. I run Kubernetes locally, but let's switch to production. And let's bring that up. And this is just what we do. So we're experimenting, but we have these services that are there. This is what we do. I'm happy to help. So what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to take the version that we did, but I want to touch on one piece here. What I've done, I'm going to close all these, is I set up my tests in a way where I have this abstract set of tests. And these tests can generate the documentation. I'm using Spring REST docs. What is this? Look at this fluff. We don't need that. Let's just optimize, right? Hey, let's go over here, code, optimize imports. Hello, let's take care of that. But I have these Spring REST docs. So what I'm doing here, the whole point is I want to connect to the backend services. I'm using test containers to do that. I'm saying, hey, we're going to build some documentation, and here's our hooks of how we're going to build that documentation. But then each test generates a snippet that goes into the actual documentation. So I believe the documentation should be here. Why is the documentation not working? So it doesn't exist where I think it should be, and I'm not sure why. Let's go take a look. Let's take a look and see what's happening. In my POM file, I say, hey, go ahead and build these docs. Build the targets. I should see over here, I should see some generated snippets for my tests. That is fantastic. That's what I expected to see. And then I should have some place where I say, hey, let's take, I have my integration test, but let's take my documentation. There should be a Spring resource. Wait, I don't see that plugin. I should see a plugin, not the boot plugin. I should see a resources plugin that takes my documentation and puts that into my delivered artifact. So maybe I didn't get there yet. Again, this is all stuff that I've been doing on live stream, so maybe I didn't get there yet. And that's okay. But that's what we want. Oh, this service is scaling down because that's what we do. We're deploying these native images. But I want to validate my tests. I want to get that documentation into production. Let's do those steps. Let's go and grab that. I've got 30 minutes at least. So let's go here. Let's do it this way. I think I do that on the YouTube listener as an example, and we'll just go and copy paste, right? So here, this is an example of the documentation that I generate as I go to production. So that listener has those snippets added into the documentation that I deliver. So my documentation is always current with my code. So let's go look at the YouTube listener project and let's copy, it's just that one plugin. And we're just upgrading things. Oh, look at that. We're already in our listener. And let's go to the POM. I know where to go look. And there's a Maven resources plugin. Hello. That says, hey, copy these snippets and let's generate our documentation. So here's our ASCII Doctor plugin. We do this. That should be there. Here's the resources plugin. This is the bit that I was looking for. That resources plugin that says, hey, get the generated docs and throw it into my static. So let's do that. Let's grab that. I want it normally before my Maven plugin, I believe. So let's throw that in. So that's there. I shouldn't need to do anything else. I can run it locally. I can just make sure mvenw clean package, and that should do Spring Boot test run so that this application will stand up. It'll have test containers behind it, and it should have our documentation at the root. I don't think I have anything else running at the moment. So let's just take a sec to stand up because we want to live that git clone run life. So you should be able to go and check out this project and do the same thing. Oh, look at this. I am happy for you. Got asked to speak at another 2 jugs. Let's go. That's what's up. Thomas, I'm a big fan of your work. We will definitely, we'll come in and we'll get you figured out on the Kubernetes stuff, but you keep doing you. You're definitely bringing good stuff to the masses. So let's go take a peek. Oh, it says, hey, I got to go authenticate. I can do that. That's for another part that I haven't really figured that out yet, but I got other bits and pieces in here. So this is a work in progress. This isn't production ready, clearly, but we're going to go authenticate. So now that application is running, that's how it's connecting to the YouTube service in the back end. And yeah, just going and grabbing some videos. But this is working locally. I should here have localhost 8080/actuator. I want to look to see if the info is there. Wait, why is that? Oh, that was just test. It wasn't really running locally yet. So please hold. I should have done maybe a skip test when I did that. So it's still coming up. I just want to make sure that things are working locally. Stand up. Will it authenticate? It should authenticate already because I actually stored the authentication on disk. And now it's up. Let's go see. I want to see if the info is there. And it's not. So I have another bug. But the main thing is hey, is my documentation there? Yes, I have documentation. I didn't fill in a lot of stuff. So my documentation, and that's probably why it wasn't deployed to production, is because I have these docs, but I didn't fill in a whole lot of stuff. So clearly over here, I've got a bunch of snippets for create, delete, fail, generate, get, and index. I have the snippets, but I haven't put them into my documentation yet. So I can do this. Here's the generate snippet. I can do this as well. I can just throw this for each of the snippets. Delete. And this is deleting stuff from that YouTube service. You know, this thing that's cataloging my YouTube videos. Easy enough, right? Operation. No, I didn't have a list. I had a delete fail. Hey, show what's happening. And I'm generating documentation that goes along. My tests are generating these snippets so that the documentation that goes out to production, maybe it's just me, but how many times have you been frustrated when the documentation of the API or of the service that you're using doesn't really match what's deployed? How annoying is that? Let's do this git. And what I'm saying here is index. What I'm saying is I've got these tests have all ran, and those tests, I have these generated snippets. I'm only showing the HTTP request. That's my favorite tool. But I could show curl. I could show straight the HTTP request example. But then I'm also showing the body, the response body. So I've got these bits that I can show, and I can show it in different ways. But I'm using HTTP requests, and I'm doing it consistently. So now let's go and do that again, but we're gonna be smart. I gotta run the test in order to generate the documentation, so I can't skip the test, so it'll take a sec. All right, so let's just run that again. It won't take as long because our test containers have been pulled down, but it'll take a sec. It's gonna connect to that third-party API as it's generating those tests, which I might not always want to do, but in this case I am. As you know, I don't like being on outdated software, and neither should you. If you're in the market and you're looking for a place to go work, I want you to do yourself a favor and ask. If you're applying for a Java position or a position where you get to use Spring, I want you to ask and say, what version of Java do you take to production? Follow-up question, what version of Spring Boot are you taking to production? Those 2 questions are going to tell you a lot about the company that you're applying for. Do yourself that favor. Ask those questions. Pink Emma, I'm sorry. You're wrong on this case. Not often. You're not often wrong, but in this case, you are. And I'm sorry that you are stuck on Java 8. Java 8 it's ran its course. You can still get support for it, but there are better versions. There are multiple better versions. And next month, Java 22. It's right around the corner. We're in days, not weeks territory. Right, we are days away from March. Is it March? When is Java 2 GA? Java 22. When is the actual GA release? Java 22 GA release date. You can use it today. No, let's go and see when. No, sorry. Like where? I bet it's here. Come on. Where's? I just want the release date. Roadmap? Here we go, 22. It just says March. But there's a date. Yeah, I don't know the date. Maybe here? I'm curious. You're probably curious too, right? March 19th. Let's put that on our calendar. March 19th. I'm adding it to my calendar. And maybe you should too. Because it's going to be GA on March 19th, which is a Tuesday. I'm going to create a new event that says, hey, Java 22 GA release date. Done. And on that day, I will be doing the SDK man update and making sure that I get the latest bits so we can upgrade. Oh boy. So, Camunda. What is this? What is this? Okay. All right. I mean, I get it. So who do we know? Who do we know over at Camunda? How do we get them to upgrade? Like, come on. But also, you're probably not using this platform for all of your workloads. Upgrade the ones that you can upgrade. You don't have to, just because there's one application, not pointing fingers, just because there's one doesn't mean you can't upgrade the rest, right? This is a not good way of going forward. Hey, we can't upgrade to Java. We can't get all the value and benefits of Java 21 on all of these other workloads because this one over here can't be upgraded. Is it a monolith? Is it a monolith? If it is, good on you. But this is also one reason, if it's a monolith, you can break those modules apart. You can get the value. Here's another reason why a monolith is awesome. Doesn't have to be all in one, right? If you got value that could be gained by pulling those modules off and deploying them separately on a more powerful, valuable JVM, why wouldn't you do that? Or why wouldn't you pull the stuff that's dependent on Camunda off? So it's not holding back the rest of your modules. We're done here. I just want to show that my documentation has been upgraded. It would be good if I put some actual documentation, right? But the idea is the same. Like, we want to do this. We want to upgrade our docs, but there's more, because I am going to production with native images. I wanted to do something. I wanted to give myself a little bit more confidence. So I made my tests abstract, and locally when I'm running my tests, here. I'm saying, hey, go ahead and extend the abstract app tests. I'm running it as a Spring Boot test on a random port. I'm using the JVM. I'm sharing that port as a part of my abstract, but it's running all of these tests against test containers. It's validating that all of my stuff works. It's generating the documentation. It's good. But when I do my integration tests, this is the interesting part. When I do my integration tests, let me make sure that I'm doing this in my workflow. I want to do something extra. I want to make sure that I'm doing this native image. But before I do that, I want to verify. I want to verify that the native image is giving me the same output as the JVM based stuff. I just want that extra bit of confidence. So this is what I do in my integration tests. I go one step further. Hey, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to expose a port, do those things. But here, this is the interesting part. And this is a pattern that I use a lot. What I'm doing in my integration test is I am standing up. I'm using an image future. I am looking for my MVNW, my binary that I use to run MVN. I'm passing in my Docker context, and I'm building the image. As a part of my integration test, I'm building a native image here. I'm using the Maven Invoker plugin, Maven Invoker. And hey, did you work? And here I'm gonna go. I need to understand all of these steps a little bit better. This is how I calculate my versions. But what I'm saying is, hey, at the end, I'm getting this property. I'm getting a value of an artifact, of a specific artifact for a specific platform. Remember, I'm building on AMD and ARM64. So in both cases, I want to build that native image. So here, I'm not just validating that my native image works, I'm validating both my ARM64 native image and my AMD 64 native image works, and I'm running the exact same set of tests. I go and I stand up that application using that image future that I just created. I stand it up, and then I run all of the tests. The exact same tests that I ran against my JVM. So once I'm done with my integration tests, I've got verification that the native image that I run on my Raspberry Pi, the native image that I'm running on my Intel box, those are giving me the exact same output that I ran in my local unit tests because they're running the exact same tests. But before I run them, I generate the native image for both platforms, ARM64, AMD 64, and I run it with the exact same set of tests. And I'm able to do that because I use Rest Assured and test containers to stand up those environments. So there's a little bit of magic here in this class. So this pattern is what I'm going to be taking on the road this year, as more and more companies are taking advantage of the native compilation. But also, it's a good pattern for containers in general, right? Even if they weren't native images, I want to make sure that the output that I'm getting from my JVM, my unit test, maybe I want to generate a container and validate that that container is working the way it's supposed to be working. It's exposing the right ports. It's hiding the right information, etc. So this is the pattern that I'm taking out on the road. And yeah, that's what it looks like. So I've got some code here. I've got some examples in my docs. I'm not going to do the docs right now, but what I am going to do is I'm going to close this up and I'm going to push it and I'm going to say, let's go. Let's upgrade this. I'm not going to worry about the info, but I am going to give myself a reminder. And again, I'm doing this in the open, so you can go in and have fun. Here we are. I'm going to remind myself that, hey, actuator info is not working. I expect to see some Cool build info. Error page. So note to self, like I'll come back and fix this on another stream, but a lot of these projects that I'm doing on Java Grunt I'm doing it in public. So there'll be a video somewhere of me doing the work that you can actually see at some point. So here we are. Let's do, oh, you want, yeah, over here. So gateway terminating. Why does it say like still terminating? That shouldn't be the case. Yeah, I can see that I have Keda here. So I'm exploring the idea of running Keda instead of Knative for these scaled zero workloads. So if you're interested in scaling to zero on Kubernetes specifically, you might want to stay tuned or check out one of my upcoming streams. So here we've got our failsafe plugin. We're doing the integration tests. Let me make sure that I've done that over here. All right, I do, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm gonna do this other thing. What's the MENW dependency analyze? Is that one? I know we have the dependency tree, but I think there's one that'll say like, hey, yeah, like it'll, hey, here's what's out of date. These are used, undeclared. So I could expose all of these dependencies, but I don't care to do that. Unused, declared dependencies. No, that's not real. I'm using these. So it doesn't know all the things, but I got some changes. Oh, the other piece, right, is Spring AI got released 0.8.0, and I think I'm using that in here. So let's fix that. My Spring AI version goes from 0.8.0 snapshot to 0.8.0. Let's make sure that still works. MENW package. That's an important fun piece. We want to stay on the latest and greatest. So we're up here to 323. What happened? Oh, so I got to make sure I have my, wait, I should. I'm saying it can't find the version 0.8.0. Maybe I hit the button late. No. MENW. Oh, maybe I need the milestone version. Or I just didn't have an index. Okay, let's do this. I know exactly what it is. It's my repositories here. I believe I just need to add the milestone. Because I'm no longer using the snapshot, or I guess I could change it like this. I go milestone. Let's see if that works. I think that's what we want. There we go. That was it. So now, oops, we're here, and now we have all the latest and greatest versions. We're on Spring Boot 3.2.3. We're using Spring AI 0.8.0 from the milestone repository. And yeah, let's make sure our tests run. It's authenticating, it's doing the thing. It's going to generate some descriptions for these. This is the whole point of this service. When I'm done with the video, like the one I'm doing today, it'll go and it'll summarize that video, because you can see that on YouTube I didn't put a description. There's a title, but there's no description under the video. This service, when I'm done with the video and I hit, end stream, this service will get triggered through the YouTube API, and this service will go and it'll generate a description and it'll generate a thumbnail for that YouTube video. So it'll be fancy, and somebody might want to click on it at some point, because I do live streams. I don't I'm not great at preparing a whole lot of content, but I am preparing something around this specifically. So later, hopefully today, I'm going to come back and I'm going to walk through an example, just a simple example of running this pattern of using test containers to generate a container and then validate that container as a part of my integration tests. So that's all I wanted to do. Now I got to jump to another meeting. If you've got questions, I got a couple of minutes. If you've got any questions, this is when you want to ask, because I'm done doing my demo. If you come to my house for dinner and you leave hungry, that's your fault. If you're here, you're hanging out at the live stream, and I'm not an expert of all things. I'm an expert in maybe a couple of things, but most importantly, I've got a lot of friends over here on Slack. So if you've got a question, anything, go ahead, now's your time. And if not, that's okay too. I'll be back. You know where to find me. Stay tuned. I'll have a video coming around this interesting pattern of how I handle my integration tests, how I build containers using test containers, and I reevaluate the exact same test that I generate with Rest Assured, how I reevaluate those tests both on the JVM and on the container images that I'm creating, whether they're native or otherwise. So that's all I've got. No questions. Well, thank you so much for joining, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Take care.